press this button, and then I press my caps lock. I press that button. Right, and then we continue. For those VOD watchers, those are probably gonna be the only people that see this. You see that bed right there? I made that. You see that shit right there? I did that shit. I finally made my bed. Because every stream I've ever done, that thing has never been made. Literally took me 2 seconds. I don't know why I don't do it more often. Anyways, we're here. We're doing some Ninjago timeline by DuckBricks. I have to, guys, really quickly, I just have to do a quick little disclosure for legal reasons. Today, DuckBricks, I'm stealing your content. Do not sue me, please. I beg you. I will give you money. I don't know where this is going. So, DuckBricks made a really, really cool, well put together Ninjago timeline series. I'm reviewing it, seeing what I can throw in there, maybe possibly getting some of my own questions answered. Go watch his videos as well as the series yourself. Today we are on Ninjago Retold Episode 1. Last time we did Episode 0, or the prologue, which was everything that you need to know before starting Episode 1, which you don't need to know at all to start Episode 1. But it's there. And also I learned a little bit about Ninjago, so yeah. Oh, I just realized I was doing the old thumbnail face. remember all the other streams where I would do this face in the thumbnail? Anyways, let's get into it.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to DuckBricks. I'm Chris, and welcome to a brand new episode of Ninjago Retold.
I had
the show
that
where I
joke
tell
ready
the
and I
entire
fucked it
Ninjago
up.
story
No!
from the beginning to the end in chronological order.
I love the intro. Okay, I'll watch it.
Last time we covered the prologue of Ninjago, so please do.
Also, again, should I point this out? There's a lot of feathering and some weird focus thing happening. Like I feel like he's on a green screen, but it might just be a really, really weird focus. I don't know, but it's very feathered, and it's focusing here and here on his face. Anyway, just really
check
weird.
that out in the description below if you have not already. That is pretty much required viewing for this episode, although I will recap the most...
Apparently, I just have to talk about this real quick. Apparently, he has a whole team working with him. He obviously does not pay them full time. He might not pay them at all, for I know. They might just be friends. But he actually has like a team of people helping him out with videos, and I find that really freaking cool because he is a pretty small channel. I mean, he has 112,000 subs, but he's a pretty small channel in a very, very niche part of YouTube. And I find that really, really cool that he has people helping him out with videos. I just wanted to point that out.
Most important items to note for this particular episode at the beginning. Although
so
you may be a little confused if you didn't watch
the required view, whatever.
So do watch that before watching this one. I can't wait to get started because this episode covers most of the events of the pilot season, also factoring in some of the mini movies that are canon to the pilot season.
Wasn't there one movie? The Day of the Departed? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. No, that's YouTube. Fuck. How many Ninjago movies are there? Because the only one I know of is the Day of the Departed movie. Yeah, Day of the Departed. The 2017 one. Master of the Fourth Dimension. Dragons Rising. That's a show. Whatever. Anyways. Fuck! Goddamn, I skipped to the end. Fuck!
Also factoring in some of the mini movies that are canon to the pilot season, and some other supplemental material like flashbacks. Episode covers most of the events of the pilot season, also factoring in some of the mini movies that are canon to the pilot season.
Did he say mini or many?
And some other supplemental material like flashbacks from future seasons, even stuff from Season 8 and Season 13, that showed events that happened either directly...
Yeah, so it's either in Season 1 or Season 27. Yeah, it's somewhere in between that range, you know?
Before or during the pilot seasons. Again, this is in chronological order, so expect major spoilers for the entirety of Ninjago's run. There are some secrets that were revealed throughout the show's history that were years in the making that unfortunately I will just be spoiling because I am telling this in chronological timeline order. So again, if you want to experience Ninjago the way it was meant to be seen, I do recommend that you go over to, say, Netflix and just watch the episodes yourselves. It'll take you a lot more time, but if you do want to enjoy the story, that's the way to do it.
And if you want to cry a few times,
condensed timeline summary, a slight dramatic retelling of Ninjago's story, then you're in the right place, and let's get started with Ninjago
Roll the
Retold.
intro clip!
Previously on Ninjago Retold. Birth of a new multiverse. In an explosion of light and life, the 16 interconnected realms come into being, first of which being the primordial realm of Oni and Dragon, where forces of light and darkness battle for all eternity. When a hybrid is born of both good and evil, this first Spinjitzu master forges his own path, defeating the terrible serpent Wojira in the realm of Ninjago, and using 4 golden weapons of creation to reshape and populate the land. As generations of elemental masters rise and fall.
I like how they're always referring to, like, or sorry, DuckBricks specifically, is always referring to, like, generations and generations of elemental masters. But we only ever see fucking 2! That's it. We see these motherfuckers, and then we see the ninja in the others in the season 4. Like it's whatever. Alongside the powerful Serpentine, new kingdoms, peoples, and cultures evolve in this world of Ninjago, including Wu and Garmadon, sons of the Spinjitzu master. But when Garmadon's Oni side overtakes him and he betrays Wu, he is cast into the underworld, seizing control of an army of undead skalkin and setting his sights on the golden weapons for himself. The fate of Ninjago now rests in the hands of the aging Master Wu and 6 promising pupils of the elements, and their story will become legend. This is Ninjago Retold.
You're a long way from finding a ninja in these parts, old man.
Lloyd is the green ninja.
I really like this intro. It's really well made.
I am the ultimate
So well made,
Spinjitzu master.
Support me, friends, for
I could
one
make something this good
last
if I tried,
time.
honestly. I could not.
The new Serpentine War has just begun. My master has arrived.
Yes, it's true. The greatest love stories do always end in tragedy.
So I've actually been rewatching Ninjago.
Maybe I'm
since
departed.
a little bit before. I always like go back and watch it. I should pause it that way I can actually focus on what I'm saying. I always like go back and rewatch shows that I watched in the past, right? And Ninjago is one that I come back to like once, twice a year. And currently I am on. I started in episode 3 because I've started in season 3, which is the one with the digital overlord, because I've seen seasons 1 and 2 way too much, and currently I'm on season 8, I think, whichever one had introduced the redesigned characters. And I actually realized that I hate the season with the Time Masters, or whatever the fuck they're called. I hate that season. It is a terrible season. Plot-wise, character-wise, I do not like it. I simply do not. I refuse. Season 2 was peak Ninjago, and that's where it was supposed to end. But then it was making too much money, so they had to keep going, and I mean, it's awesome that they did, because it's still a great show, but holy fuck, dude, I hated that. If that's anybody's favorite season, I am sorry. I really am.
But I can resist you.
Endings will always come. All we can do is fight to make them good ones.
Protect those who cannot protect themselves.
You were programmed by the game to lose, but you don't have to.
I have not seen that season, whichever one that is with the video game. I have not seen that one. I think I've seen every single one, though. Season 7 was still peak. The only thing cool about Season 7, which I also dislike at the same time, is the fire and water dragon. That's the only thing that's kind of cool about it. Other than that, it's kind of stupid.
I want you to promise me that you will always stand up to those who are cruel.
We are the keepers of the amulet.
How many seasons are there? What point are we at in the intro? Like 7? No, we're at... There's... Well, because there's like... 15? But then there's Ninjago Dragons Rising, which is a whole nother show, but it's the same story. But it's like it's a continuation under a different name. It's like how Ben 10 had Ben 10, and then I had Ben 10 Alien Force, and then I had Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, and then I had Ben 10 Omniverse. Like that. Technically, Ninjago has 15 seasons. Who the fuck is this, and why are the golden weapons back? I need to fucking know. Honestly, I need to know, and I don't feel like... I don't... It's like, it's either time travel, he remade them himself, or that's it. Alright. I should buy a theremin. I know that's completely out of nowhere, but I should buy a theremin so I can make some cool music. Theremins are so cool. I'm joking, by the way. They fucking suck.
Episode 1, The Golden Weapons.
Alright, now, really quickly. What is everybody's favorite weapon that is, like, just, you know how, when you what's everyone's favorite weapon? Because, like, there's the golden weapons, and then there's the pure elemental blades or whatever that they got from the Temple of Light, and then there's just the normal, like, steel blades and stuff, and then there's in season 8 they all get their own unique weapons. Like Zane gets a bow and stuff, which I will admit I do like that in season 8. Or whatever, yeah, I think it's season 8. In season 8, they all get, like, they all become kind of their own entity instead of being, like, kind of copies of one another, because the budget went up so they could do that. So they, you know, they all became their own entity, and they all got different weapons, and all their spinjitzus looked slightly different, but also the same as well. Like, beyond just the color. Like, it was more, like, Kai's had, like, sparks and flares and generated light. And Lloyd's was just literally the same thing, but it looked a little cleaner. Or no, Lloyd's was the same thing as it used to be, but it looked a little bit cleaner and it was a little bit tighter.
Chapter 1, Birth of Legends.
In my opinion, I like the... Oh yeah, there was also the Technoblades as well. I think I like the... I mean, I guess the golden weapons are really cool. I was gonna say I like the pure elemental blades that they all got at Temple of Light, but in all honesty, I didn't like that they all had swords. Swords are really only meant for, like, Lloyd and Kai, mainly Kai touches as golden weapon. But anyway, also, can we just talk about really quickly the line that Lloyd? Let me see if I can find it really quick. The line that Lloyd had when he was, I'm gonna get copyright claim. By the way, the last stream got copyright claim, so make sure to donate so I can get some money on this one. Just I'm about to get copyright claimed again for showing what I'm about to show. But Lloyd had the most badass line in the history. Like, literally, I've never seen a show that had more of a badass segment ever in my life, and it was one line. It was so good. And let me see if I can find it. I don't want a whole episode, thanks. I just want this. I'm gonna do a copyright claim, so please, if you have any money, like, just give me, like, a book. I usually don't ask, but, like, it really hurts when that happens, so...
I have come here to fight you!
You're in no shape to fight. It's over. Evil wins.
A ninja never quits!
for it. Here it is.
You don't even have a sword.
I don't need a sword.
Then all I have to
Oh my god, I'm gonna get claims. Possibly strike. If I get striked, I'm actually fucked. So, but ooh, I don't need a sword. Oh, you tell him, Lloyd. You tell him, dude. Anyways, back to the Ninjago.
Our story begins in the realm
It's so badass, dude. It's so badass.
of Ninjago, one of the
Do they still
many
make episodes?
interconnected
Yes,
worlds
they
existing
are.
across the
They're
ethereal
doing a
divide.
whole
With the
other
great
show,
Serpentine
but
Wars
same
finally
thing.
over and the alliance of elemental masters disbanded and retired, Ninjago
Wait, what? There are 16 seasons, but the island season is confusing because it's very short and referred to some countries as special. But I don't understand the problem because it is same treatment. There's 16 seasons? I thought there were 15.
was finally at
island?
peace.
What are you talking about? China?
Borg and Vast Industries pioneered the growth of Ninjago City, now a vast metropolis filled with skyscrapers, technological wonders, and bustling streets. The far-off golden kingdom of Shin...
I don't think that is accurate. Because around the time... Because we're at the Golden Weapons. So there wasn't... I mean, there were skyscrapers. Yes, do not get me wrong. There were skyscrapers, but it wasn't like technologically advanced. It was like a modern city today, or maybe slightly less modern. It might have been like between 1980s and like 2000, somewhere in that timeline. And then after the Overlord, it's like 2050 or something.
Taro prospered, boasting riches beyond imagination shared amongst the skyfolk and their kin. After decades sealed away, the serpentine tombs across Ninjago lay isolated and forgotten, a relic of darker times past. The Keepers continued to protect the Storm Amulet, Wojira deep in slumber at the bottom of the Tartarus Trench, guarded by the undersea Merlopian warriors across the Endless Sea.
What? Sorry, that was a lot of information really fast. I'm sorry.
Ninjago lay isolated and forgotten, a relic of darker
wait.
times past. The Keepers continued to protect the Storm Amulet, Wojira deep in slumber at the bottom of the Tartarus Trench, guarded by the undersea Merlopian warriors across the Endless Sea.
Okay. The water dragon dead underground with a storm amulet being guarded by stuff, I think.
Trapped in the teapot of Tyran, the pirate captains of old were sealed away, unable to terrorize Ninjago again. And marooned on an inhospitable island, Master Chen grew older and older, unable to influence the mainland beyond.
What's season 6?
And yet, evil still lurked in the darkness, biding its time.
I literally just watched it last night. What is season 6? Oh my god. What? Oh, it's the Ninjago one. Mine's season 2. That's my favorite.
And waiting to strike. In the swamps of Ninjago and even in the walls of the great Ninjago Museum of History, former Elemental Master of Time Crux continued to grow his Vermilion army, still forcing the old Elemental Masters of Fire and Water, Ray and Maya, to produce terrible machines of war for his army. In the far-off Neverrealm, the displaced stranger from the future continued to rule as the Ice Emperor with an iron grip. The secret...
So apparently, this part I don't know about because I haven't seen up to this point, but Zane apparently gets launched forward in time? Backward? He gets launched to some point in time, loses his memory, and then is some dictator. So yeah, interesting. It's interesting to see where that will go.
Dungeons below Shintaro in the realm of Ninjago were enslaved by the vicious Skull Sorcerer, mining for the riches beneath and spreading Vengestone, the powerful rock that neuters elemental powers, to scum and villainy across the land. Across the Desert of Doom, the ancient serpentine pyramid of the valley lay buried under tons of sand, the treacherous Hypnobria Sphera still magically entombed within its walls. Deep within the Endless Sea, the Merlopian Kalma was born to the royal family, gaining a deadly ambition to one day reawaken the world serpent Wojira and plunge Ninjago into the churning waves of the ocean once more, as it was in the before time. In the Cursed Realm, Wu's former pupil Morrow, Master of Wind, climbed the ranks, winning more and more dark souls to his favor while promising to one day take his revenge on Wu and the realm of Ninjago. The artificial intelligence ruling over the digital world of Prime Empire, Unagami, continued to learn and grow, its sights set on still breaching through the real world. On Haunted Hill, the now ghostly and bitter Master Yang remained bound to his old temple of Erjitsu with his cursed legion of pupils, forcibly converting all who stepped foot on the premises after dark into a ghost.
That's not 100% accurate what he said there about Master Yang's temple, but okay.
And most of all, the Overlord still lurked on what remained of the Dark Island, biding his time and growing stronger by the day, his terrible stone army still entombed below the streets of Ninjago City.
I'm never gonna get over the stone army. They were so badass and so just... They're indestructible unless you have pure elemental power, which only 5 people can get, because it requires Lloyd, and then his 4 protectors, which means that literally they are the only ones that can stop the stone army. If they never showed up, Ninjago would be fucked.
But the threat most paramount to Master Wu, now an old man with a long white beard, was his very brother, Lord Garmadon, who had been cast into the underworld so many years ago. Having sent Lily, the old elemental master of Earth, to learn of Garmadon's plans so many years ago, Wu now knew just how dangerous his brother had become, and the army of disgraced warrior Skalkin he now commanded.
We should have gotten a Wu.
His brother had become.
We should have gotten some Wu stuff, more Wu stuff with this Wu, like the 30s, 20s, 30s-year-old Wu.
And the army of disgraced warrior Skalkin he now commanded.
Really
with the might of the skeleton warriors and the deadly vehicles made by the Tinkerer, Dr. Julian, who was forced to work for the legions of evil,
yeah, I know that guy.
Garmadon was readying for war. And this is where our story truly begins. After Master Wu hid the golden weapons all around the world of Ninjago, he entrusted the map to the golden weapons to Rei and Maya, original elemental masters of fire and water. But once they were kidnapped by Crux, knowledge of this map was lost, and their children, Kai and Nia, grew up unaware that this ancient map was hidden away in their very blacksmith shop. With what remained of the elemental masters scattered across Ninjago, either retired, dead, or missing, it was time for a new
Damn, they got fucked up.
generation of heroes to come to the forefront and defend Ninjago.
Oh, sorry, hold on a second.
It was time for a new generation.
I'm kind of a fan of this armor. Also, I love how Nia, when she started off as the water ninja for the first 2 seasons or something, or maybe more than that, I don't know, but she was wearing a red gi with a little bit of blue thrown on it. And I understand they couldn't make a blue ninja or another blue ninja because but also why did it have to be red? The best possible option would have been to turn Jay's slightly darker and then make Nia's baby blue, right? That would have been the best possible option. But instead, they went with this red-blue hybrid. I'm just not a fan of it. But yeah, there's a lot of gold and stuff. Kind of looks cool. Also, kind of doesn't at the same time. It kind of looks like it kind of looks like Roblox, but what's that game called? Arcane Odyssey on Roblox. It kind of looks like some armor from that game.
Of heroes to come to the forefront and defend Ninjago, with threats rising from every corner of the realm. And so, Master Wu set off on a noble quest to unite the children of the core elemental masters. Cole, son of Lillian Lau and Master of Earth. Jay, son of the Master of Lightning and actor Cliff Gordon. Zane, Ninjoid son of Dr. Julian and inheritor of the power of ice. Kai and Nia, children of Rei and Maya, masters of fire and water. And Lloyd Montgomery Garmadon, son of Wu's brother Garmadon and Misako, now curator of the Museum of History. First to be recruited was Cole. Still mourning the passing of his mother Lily, Cole found himself more and more estranged from his father Lau, who had thrown himself into singing and dancing with his band, the Royal Blacksmiths, following the death of his wife. Left at home to maintain the household while his dad was away, Cole began to venture further and further outside his village, eventually lying to his father and
this scene right here is in Season 8. It's in the first episode of Season 8. How do I know that? Because I saw it last night at 3:42 p.m.
He had gone off to study dance at the Marty Oppenheimer School of Performing Arts, while he was actually honing his body.
The School of Performing Arts. Okay. He was performing something.
And strength, climbing impossibly tall mountains and scaling cliffs and valleys for fun. And on one fateful morning, Cole made his way to the top of one of the tallest peaks in Ninjago, only to find an old man, Master Wu, waiting for him atop the cliff.
Imagine if you're the best rock climber in the world, right? And some old man is like, if you get up there before me, I'll do something for you. And he's like, bet, bitch. You get up there, dude is literally like sunbathing, like shirt is off, hands behind his head, just like, playing music, sipping on some Mai Tais or whatever. He's just like, why did it take you so long? That'd be fucking...
On this isolated, snowy peak, Wu spoke with Cole, asking why he climbed the mountain, upon which Cole opened up to him, explaining his frustrations with his father and how he chose to deal with his grief. As Master Wu explained that everyone deals with grief differently, Cole realized his father's way of coping was by throwing himself into song and dance, and his own way was aimlessly climbing mountains. Ultimately seeking a greater purpose in life, Cole agreed to join Master Wu and led a team of ninja against the forces of evil in Ninjago, taking the first step in a long journey to fulfill his mother's dying wish for Cole to one day become a hero for the realm. As Cole began training and living at Wu's monastery of Spinjitzu, 3 more pupils were found and invited to join the cause. Jay, son of famous actor Cliff Gordon and original Master of Lightning, was left on the door of a junkyard following a mysterious event that forced his parents to have to give him up, and the Master of Lightning to be lost forever. Taken in by Ed and Edna, the couple who ran the junkyard, Jay grew up unaware that he was adopted, inheriting a love and passion for tinkering and building from his adoptive parents.
Something that does not sit right with me from time to time is the fact that Jay was an inventor. He was a brilliant inventor, crazy good engineer, and they just threw that whole idea away. Like in seasons 1 and 2, he'd be like working on stuff, building stuff. I mean, it was mainly Nia doing that kind of thing, but like he'd be working on stuff, playing with stuff, whatever, and then like he just lost that, and he just kind of became the haha funny man. But that was, I feel like the whole engineering tinkerer thing was a very big part of what made the character likable at first. He was never my favorite, obviously, but for anybody who's been watching me long enough, you know who my favorite is. But it's just, I feel like that I also really like that whole idea that he's all this, but he's also more than that, But now he's just like all he is the haha funny man with the lightning.
Once he had grown into his teenage years, Jay was a daredevil inventor, constantly testing outlandish devices and using raw metals and fabric from the junkyard to build contraptions of movement and flight. With a pair of glider wings quickly becoming one of his most favorite inventions, Jay was testing the suit for the 6th time when he smashed into a billboard in Ninjago City yet again, and grew increasingly frustrated with his suit, which he declared as impossibly hard to get right. But that day on the rooftop, Jay was greeted by Master Wu, who promised him that he, in turn, was building the impossible itself, and invited Jay to join the team.
How do you do that?
And so, this new Master of Lightning soon found himself training alongside Cole at the monastery, as Wu continued to recruit more students. Next up was the robotic ninjroid Zane, who had forgotten his past and wandered the realm of Ninjago in search for a purpose, performing superhuman feats and astonishing villagers with his ability to hold his breath for inhuman lengths underwater. Zane was meditating at the bottom of a frozen pond where he encountered Wu alongside him, who promised a much greater purpose in life. Driven by his mission to protect those who cannot protect themselves, Zane agreed to join the team, and then there were 3. But the 4th member, Kai, would be much harder to convince. Having taken up running the 4-weapons blacksmith shop following the disappearance of his parents Ray and Maya, Kai worked alongside his sister Nia to maintain the shop, earning a humble keep for themselves as they operated out of Ignatia Village. When Wu earning a humble keep for themselves as they operated out of
That bucket is not big enough to fit that sword.
His sister Nia to maintain the shop, earning a humble...
That bucket is not big enough to fit that sword. What kind of Harry Potter bullshit is this?
Keep for themselves as they operated out of Ignatia Village. When Wu approached Kai, urging him to find the fire within, Kai refused, wanting nothing more than to focus on his future as an expert blacksmith. And so, Wu left the village of Ignatia, promising to return when the time was right, and retreating to the monastery of Spinjitzu, where he trained Cole, Jay, and Zane in the art of the ninja. But darkness was brewing in the underworld, and right as Wu was beginning to train and hone the skills of his 3 new ninja recruits, Garmadon was in turn prepping the Skalkin legions for an attack on Ninjago to reclaim the legendary golden weapons, and use the dragon-like power of creation imbued in them to reshape the land in his own image. Chapter 2: Vengeance of the Skalkin. The time had come. Decades of peace in Ninjago were about to be shattered as the Skalkin of the underworld took arms and hurtled into the realm of Ninjago. Opening rifts and gateways between realms with their supernatural vehicles, Skalkins poured forth from every gateway and terrible motorbikes, tanks, and trucks, all commanded by Lord Garmadon, who now wore a helmet of bone to signify his control over the skeletal legions.
So, according to this scene here, in order to travel between dimensions, you just have to move really fast. And that seems to be pretty consistent across many different media. Like in The Flash, he runs so fast he can go to another dimension. In this, they move fast enough. They aren't going nearly as fast as he has to, but they're going fast enough they pop through a dimension. There's probably some other ones, right? But it's like, oh, wait, didn't they fucking retcon that? I think they did. Because in some season, I don't remember which, they said that dragons were the only creatures that could go between dimensions. But the dragons didn't just open up a portal. They dive bombed from like thousands of feet up. Huh. Someone made up some bullshit. And I don't know which one it is.
Led by General Samakai, Cruncha, Knuckle, and Whiplash, these armies scoured the lands for the golden weapon.
Wait, what were their names?
Cruncha, Knuckle, and Whiplash.
Cruncha, Knuckle, and Whiplash? What kind of fucking names are those? Yeah, my name is Cruncha. I like candy bars, Crunch.
These armies scoured the lands for the golden weapons, and first on their list of targets was Kai and Nia's 4 weapons blacksmith shop, for Garmadon had somehow learned of where Wu had hidden the map, and was determined to use all the might of the underworld to claim it for himself.
Wait, you don't have any lore for that? Just somehow, you know, he has ESP or ESPN or whatever the fuck I don't know.
Day turned.
I ruined my joke. I was supposed to say ESPN first. Shut up.
Turned to night as ghoulish vehicles raced across the landscape, hurtling towards the village of Ignatia.
If anyone wants to steal that joke,
arrived at the blacksmith shop, Kai and Nia bravely fought back. Despite lacking training or practice, the siblings managed to beat back many of the skeleton warriors using their homemade weapons, until the 4
their homemade weapons. A sword that Kai did not make, and a fucking stick. Apparently, if you picked up a stick, you're 007. That's just how it is.
Armed Samakai himself joined the fray, quickly disarming Kai and pinning him to the ground. And just when all seemed lost, in a flash of light and energy, Wu swept over Samakai with the power of Spinjitzu, dueling the undead general while Kai and Nia looked on. But in the commotion, Skalkin generals Cruncha and Knuckle managed to seize the map to the golden weapons, and with their mission completed, the Skalkin began to retreat from the village. As Wu was occupied with ensuring Kai's safety, Samakai managed to kidnap Nia and whisk her off into places unknown, under direct orders from Garmadon in a secret bid to claim the golden weapons for himself. And so, almost as quickly as it began, the battle was over, with Garmadon claiming his first victory over the realm of Ninjago. Enraged, Kai lashed out at Wu, who in turn put the young trainee in his place, telling him the dire need for heroes and ninja in the realm, and the threat of his brother, Lord Garmon, who sought to plunge the world into darkness, the Oni side of him in full control. Explaining the legend of the first Spinjitzu master and the power of the golden weapons, Wu began to illustrate just how dangerous this threat was to Kai, who needed no further motivation to accept the old master's offer to train as a ninja and to save his sister. And so, while Cole J
What is he, a fucking spider monkey?
to train as a ninja and to save his sister.
What the fuck is he?
And so,
what is this dude?
while Cole, Jay, and Zane were still out on a
What is he? How did Kai climb that? He's not even jacked. How did he do that? So emotional damage. Oh god. Watched a lot of Stephen He recently.
On a training mission, Wu brought Kai back to the Grand Monastery of Spinjitzu atop the mountains of impossible height. There, Kai made his way through an
Mountains of impossible height? Yeah, more like mountains of impossible bullshit. That's what that fucking is.
imposing gauntlet, honing his body, mind, and agility to slowly but surely overcome each obstacle and begin to unlock his potential. And as the days grew long, the Skalkin made haste to begin to unlock his potential. And as the days...
I wonder what this says. Anybody have a translation? I can give it to hold on. I can give it to Arcanist, because he knows it might be Chinese, so maybe he won't be able to do it, but he knows Japanese, so I'll just give that to him and ask him. Hey buddy, Arcanist, my brother, not from Australia. Do you know what this means?
Days grew long, the Skalkin made haste to acquire the weapons of Spinjitzu for Lord Garmadon, and the first battle the brave ninja would face was about to begin. As Kai finished his training and mastered the obstacle course, Jay, Cole, and Zane returned from their first mission, ambushing Kai in his sleep while mistaking him for an intruder. In a brief skirmish, the four ninja trainees clashed, still unfocused and undisciplined.
The fact that Kai could take all three of them on by himself, being completely untrained, mind you. He had like a few days of training, and they had at least weeks to months. Just saying, Kai's better.
And just as Kai was about to be overwhelmed by the rest of the three ninja, Wu rushed out, introducing the ninja to each other for the first time, and bestowing new colorful robes to each
okay.
warrior, signifying the power of the elements still buried deep within them.
How did they get weapons? And how did... Wait. Okay. So, scientifically speaking, for Wu to do that, he either needs to have transmutation powers, or he got them naked and dressed them in a fraction of a second. Either way, the government's gonna be after him.
Zane, robotic ninjroid and powerful seer, would be the master of ice. Jay, wisecracking inventor and jokester, would become the master of lightning. Cole, solid and firm cake-loving leader, would be the master of earth. And the ambitious and hot-headed Kai would one day be the master of fire. Together, Kai, Jay, Zane, and Cole were Wu's first pupils in over a generation, and would soon be thrust into the most thrilling adventure of a lifetime. And so, the four ninja began to live and train together, Kai's thoughts still occupied with saving his sister. As they told tales of how Wu recruited them and bonded as a team, the ninja would soon be sent on their first mission.
I changed it over to the Ninjago soundtrack, dude. It's so good. I'm just like listening to it in the background. It's so fucking good. I wish I could play it more, but it's copyrighted. Most of it is, at least.
To recover the first of the four golden
Usually it's the remixes that they do for the other seasons that are not, but ugh.
Weapons and venture into the desolate caves of despair for the first time, where the Skalkin had already set up camp and began excavations.
Oh, that's
the time for
no wonder it's hard
quests
to hear
and
me. Is that
adventure
full
was upon
volume?
them, and the ninja were as ready
I
as
can
they
barely
could
hear
be
myself.
for their first real mission. Chapter 3: Quest for the Golden Weapons. And so, as the sun dawned on the Skalkin excavation camps around the Caves of Despair, the 4 new ninja arrived on the scene, silently infiltrating the camp to uncover the secret resting place of the first of the 4 weapons, the Scythe of Quakes. Their mission, to recover the scythe before the Skalkin, but to not, under any circumstances, use the devastating power of the weapon.
Sorry, I just had to clear my throat.
But in his impatience to save Nia, Kai rushed in without his comrades, forcing them to follow behind him, and nearly jeopardizing the entire mission. Despite the warnings of Cole, Kai continued onwards, brazenly rushing past the Skalkin into the Caves of Despair, with the rest of the ninja left with no choice but to follow suit. Making their way past the Skalkin legions and entering the inner sanctum of the mines within the caves, the ninja finally arrived at an ancient...
Wait.
And entering the inner sanctum of the mines within the caves.
What? I know that it's a show, and that's meant. This whole effect is meant for like to illustrate a point, but like this is so impossible. It's making me laugh. As a man of science, I find this funny.
The ninja finally arrived at an ancient stone temple. Statues of heroes and villains past adorned the walls, and the light from torches illuminated the carved-out space. And directly in the center, placed on a vertical pedestal, was the legendary Scythe of Quakes, which would allow its user to wield the very power of Earth itself, even without having to be an elemental master. But as the ninja claimed the scythe and rushed out of the temple...
How was it, like... Because it was, like, floating there, wasn't it? Yeah, it's, like, floating there. How's it floating there? Is the dragon just, like, having its tongue just, like... and the scythe is just, like... there? Or... I did that to... For... If this turns into a video, I'll edit the scythe, like, right here. Just... For the... You know, for all of you burgeoning YouTubers out there, you gotta think... about the edits as you're recording, you know what I'm saying? Anyways.
To be an elemental master. But as the ninja claimed the scythe and rushed out of the temple, ancient mechanisms, cogs, and gears began to awaken the mighty Earth Dragon, sworn to protect the scythe, and the Skalkin were waiting just outside to ambush our 4 heroes. Overwhelmed by opponents, the ninja prepared to put up a brave fight, but just then, Jay began to notice a pattern of attacks, hearkening the Skalkin legions back to the very obstacles they trained with at the monastery's dojo. And so, fighting in a blur of blades, kicks, and punches, Jay leapt from enemy to enemy, harnessing a stunning tornado of blue lightning.
The Spinjitzu and the pilots look so goddamn good. And that's because they had a bit more budget, because it was 2 episodes, and they wanted it, obviously, if you're going to do it, you got to make it look really good at the start. Like, look at that. It's generating light. It has so many particles coming off of it. Versus what Spinjitzu looks like in the later seasons. Up until the rebranding, God, it just looks so good. It's just the tiniest little details, like these sparks here are like real. This and like the fact that it's generating a little bit more light. I mean, it's not generating light on the scene, as you can tell. Because if it were, then the ground would be lit up as well. But it's just like that. Those little fades and the sparks. So
Obliterated
such
all
little
who
details
crossed
mean
him,
so much.
And becoming the first of the 4 ninja to perform the ancient art of Spinjitzu. As Jay's teammates observed him, one by one they each began to pattern his movements, Zane summoning the might of the blizzard in a freezing whirlwind of ice, Cole generating shockwaves and tornadoes of rock and earth, and Kai transforming into a whirlwind vortex.
Like here, Cole, in all honesty, Cole's doesn't look... It looks better here, but it's like the Spinjitzu, I mean. Cole's Spinjitzu looks better here than it does in the later seasons. But it's like... It's just something so little. I can't tell what it is without, like, comparing the 2 side by side. And with Kai's, Again, it's pretty similar. It's just that it has those little flares and those little sparks coming off it, and those mean so much in something like that.
Vortex of flames and heat. Together, these new masters of Spinjitzu
look at that!
rushed over the Skalkin in an elemental
so
cascade,
good.
sweeping away their opponents and forcing Samakai to pull his forces out of the caves. But just as the fight appeared to be over, the ninja soon realized they had forgotten the most deadly opponent of all, the mighty Earth Dragon, protector and guardian of the Scythe of Quakes. And so, as the ninja prepared to fight, Kai rashly seized the scythe and, despite his comrades warning him against it, plunged the weapon into the ground, triggering a cataclysmic earthquake that temporarily stunned the beast and allowed the ninja to escape. Making their way to the surface, the ninja's celebrations were cut short when Wu, furious that they had disobeyed him, berated Kai for thinking he was better than his teammates, and the 4 ninjas solemnly set off to their next quest. Back in the underworld, Samakai had returned, bearing news of their loss to Lord Garmadon, who inexplicably was pleased that the ninja had obtained the scythe, for according to him, everything was going according to his dark plan. As the days passed on, the ninja journeyed to far-off lands and faced trials beyond imagination to claim the weapons and beat the Skalkin to the prize. Venturing to the icy, barren wastelands north of Ninjago, the team sailed to an icy castle, a foreboding fortress of snow which housed the legendary shurikens of ice. On their journey, Wu explained to them that when Spinjitzu users act as one, they could combine their vortexes to summon the awesome might of the Tornado of Creation, a blinding whirlwind which housed the raw, creative energy of the dragons. But this power was a long way from being unlocked, and there were many trials ahead.
This is supposed to be the ultimate tornado. It's using like 7 different people to make versus the 4 that the original Tornado of Creation was. And this looks so much more dull than the single. This looks way worse than the Spinjitzu in the pilot. Like, than the single Spinjitzus in the pilot. Like, all it is just a big tornado with a big golden tornado with a little bit of lightning around it. That's all it is. Versus the, like, it's just like, oh my god. It's just those little details, man. Those little particles and everything.
Ahead of the young heroes.
Like, the lightning looks good, but they need more than that.
With the knowledge of future power to come, the 4 ninja ventured into the Temple of Ice. Passing frozen Skalkin and mysterious shards
Why didn't they do the Tornado of Creation more?
Eventually made their way to the epicenter of the structure, a shrine dedicated to the mysterious floating shurikens of ice. And just as Zane claimed his weapons and the ninja prepared to leave,
I guess they just float there.
The ice dragon above them awoke, freezing him solid in an instant.
I guess that answers my question on, is it just floating there? Yeah, literally, it's just floating there.
Forced to flee, the ninja whisked away their now frozen friend and sped out of the temple.
Jeez,
the second golden weapon
dude, they were fucking out
of them
what
awoke,
the fuck?
freezing him solid in an instant. Forced to flee, the ninja whisked away their now frozen
Damn,
friend
they're
and
fucking
sped
gone,
out of the temple.
bro.
The second golden weapon obtained. Next on their journey were the powerful and volatile nunchucks of lightning. Venturing to the abandoned lightning ruins, the ninja swooped in on gliders, snatching the golden artifacts right before Samakai and the Skalkin managed to claim the weapons for themselves. And yet, the skeletal leader was pleased, for it was Garmadon's exact plan that the ninja obtained the 4 weapons. And with 3 of 4 weapons in their possession, Kai, Cole, Zane, Jay, and Wu shared a brief moment of respite and peace as they prepared to claim the final weapon by morning. Bonding together as a team, Zane, Cole, Jay, and Wu danced and laughed together by the campfire. Yet Kai was still apprehensive, his thoughts occupied with saving his sister, Nia. But what the ninja did not know was that at this very moment, Garmadon was watching their every move through the shadows,
That is the first time they hit it.
the weak links in the team,
and
and targeting the rash fire ninja Kai for his next
I don't watch
plot.
the pilots very often.
And so, as night descended on the forest and the team drifted off to sleep, Garmadon sent forth a dark illusion of Nia to ensnare Kai, tricking him into following her form to the grand Temple of Fire nearby in the Forest of Tranquility, hiding.
I wonder how he did that, the whole Nia thing. Like, it was obviously an illusion. But how did he do? Because he never did that ever again.
Place of the Sword of Fire. Since
But
Lord
you
Garmadon
think
had been
they would
banished
use
to
that
the
ability
underworld,
more often
he was
if it's
unable
really good.
to cross over to the realm of Ninjago, and yet his Oni power over shadows and darkness could influence the realm of the living. And as Kai rushed to the temple, he left his comrades and the first 3 golden weapons unguarded. Making his way to the base of an active volcano, Kai called out for his sister, soon discovering Garmadon's forces had truly chained her above a pit of boiling lava, forcing him to claim the Sword of Fire from its pedestal himself and slash the chain, finally saving his sister, but falling right into Garmadon's trap. And so, as shadows stretched and darkness engulfed the temple, the very darkness...
Sorry, hold on.
Finally saving his sister, but falling right into Garmadon's...
It looks so good, man.
trap. And so, as shadows stretched and darkness engulfed the temple, the very darkness sprang to life, Kai's own shadow acting as an extension of Garmadon's reach. Swiftly, the Dark Lord defeated Kai, claiming the Sword of Fire, and just as he was about to declare victory, Sensei Wu leapt onto the scene, using his own shadow to combat the might of Garmadon's, and using the Sword of Fire to beat back the shadows of evil. Just then, Garmadon called for the mighty fire dragon to awake, sworn protector of the sword, who blocked the entrance to the temple, condemning the ninja to their fate. And so, Wu made a dangerous gambit. Seizing the Sword of Fire, he rushed back to the lava falls beneath the temple.
Wait, he cut the stone with
dangerous
the sword of fire?
gambit. Seizing the Sword of Fire,
That's a sharp sword, holy hell.
he rushed back to the lava falls beneath the temple and made a beeline for the secret inter-realm portal between Ninjago and the underworld housed within the Temple of Fire to confront Garmadon on his own turf. And so, with Kai and Nia left to fend off the fire dragon on their own and Wu descended into the underworld, the rest of the ninja were left unprepared and were ambushed by Samakai and his forces, who seized the rest of the golden weapons and were commanded by Garmadon to return to the underworld. But even after Jay used quick thinking to covertly steal a bone sword and free his comrades, the ninja were unable to catch up to the skalkin. Chasing the bony vehicles through the long corridors of the Forest of Tranquility, Jay, Zane, and Cole fought valiantly to prevent the...
I love how it goes from, like, sometimes when they're running, they're moving at like 2 miles an hour. And then other times when they're running, they're fucking going
to the
at
underworld.
800.
But the speed of the arcane vehicles was too powerful to overcome.
It is insane how
and soon enough,
inconsistent their speed
it
is.
was over, with the 3 ninja defeated and Samakai having claimed the weapons of ice, earth, and lightning, just as Lord Garmadon had planned. Defeated, bruised, and reeling from Garmadon's attacks, the ninja had now lost all 4 golden weapons, and they would have to descend into realms unknown and journey to worlds forgotten to reclaim their weapons and their sensei. Chapter 4: Into the Underworld. As Wu crossed the ethereal divide and found himself in the desolate, grimy underworld, Kai and Nia were cornered by the fire dragon, and the remaining ninja had just faced humiliating defeat at the hands of Samakai and the Skalkin warriors. The cards were set for Garmadon to finally claim the 4 weapons and reshape the land of Ninjago, and the stakes had never been higher. Thinking fast, Kai and Nia attempted to calm the dragon together, managing to harness the mighty beast and wrest control over the fearsome creature. Together, the pair burst forth from the Temple of Fire in stunning fashion, riding on the back of the majestic dragon of fire they named Flame, and providing the first chance the ninja had to reclaim the weapons and save their master. And so, the rest of the 3 ninjas split off to tame their individual dragons, Jay building a machine to amplify the roar of his lightning dragon Wisp to tame the creature, Zane convincing his ice dragon Shard with logic, and Cole overcoming his fear of dragons to forge a strong emotional bond with the earth dragon he named Rocky.
Is that what they did? I don't remember that detail at all. Is that what they... Okay. Doesn't look like he got over his fear, though. bro's holding on for dear life.
With all 4 dragons tamed, the ninja donned new Dragon Master suits to reflect their command over the primordial creatures, and soared off into the sky, promising to return to Ninjago with their master and the golden weapons. And so, the dragons leapt into action, using their unique dragon ability to cross between realms, funneling into power.
Unique. Unique dragging ability.
Powerful tornadoes of light and creation, ripping open the ethereal divide and traversing the caves of the underworld to make their way to the realm of the disgraced. Arriving in a burst of energy, the four warriors found themselves on the precipice of a dangling cliff in the underworld, surrounded by ghastly bone spiders and skalkin legions gathered in front of Garmadon's dark fortress.
Also, really quick, did we just talk about these little stilts that they have on the dragons? This is so useless. It literally creates so much goddamn drag. Like this is not good. Also, in the when they were doing the dive bomb with the spiral, that thing would have snapped off in a quarter of a second. The second they got to max speed, or like half max speed or whatever, it would have fucking torn right off. The structural attack, like this would have to be made of fucking adamantium vibranium to withstand that kind of force. All right, sorry, the nerd in me is just...
With any attempts at stealth now disregarded, the four ninjas soon found themselves surrounded by these grisly legions. Wu, Garmadon, and Samakai still nowhere in sight. Just then, Jay had a radical idea. Attempt to form the legendary Tornado of Creation, volatile spinjitzu move that combined all four tornadoes into a whirlwind of creativity. While the rest of the ninja were wary, they soon realized they had no other choice. Kai formed his whirling vortex of fire. Zane summoned a hurricane of ice. Jay transformed into a raging ball of lightning. And Cole moved the very earth as the four ninja pooled their elemental tornado.
This looks so much better than the fucking one in season 10? 9? Whatever fucking season it is. This looks so much better.
In a flash of raw elemental power, the Tornado of Creation was formed.
So much
Sucking
better.
terrified skalkins, spiders, and raw materials into its vortex, the tornado swept over Garmadon's fortress,
Look at that,
leaving
dude.
a whimsical Ferris wheel of bone in its place. Skalkin warriors caged inside.
What the hell,
and with the skeletal army dealt with, the ninja had no time to spare. Rushing into the throne room of the underworld, they found Wu and
also, can we just
Samakai pitted in a...
So this is where I kind of made this is where I got the thumbnail from, right? I'll talk about it in a minute.
With no way to help their master against the might of the Dark General. Weapons of Spinjitzu clashed as Wu bravely parried the might of Samakai's forceful attacks with his lone sword of fire, dodging blasts of raw ice and lightning as the very ground beneath him began to split open with the power of the Scythe of Quakes. But soon enough, even all of Wu's might was unable to fight back against the power of 3 golden weapons in the hands of a skilled combatant, and the old master was beaten back, losing the Sword of Fire. As Garmadon watched on from his throne, the greedy Samakai seized all 4 weapons for himself, threatening to take back the underworld throne. But to the warlord's dismay, the weapons began.
Alright. First of all, what happens to the 2 shurikens of ice? Is there 2 of them? Not 1, there's 2. Which means he had the Scythe of the Quake, Nunchuck of Lightning, Sword of Fire, and then, he had Scythe, Nunchuck, Shuriken, and then when he got the sword, the Shuriken in this hand was fucking gone, right? So, what also, this dude looks fucking, he looks fucking distraught, bro. He knows he fucked up. But, what happened to the other Shuriken? I understand, I know why they did 2 Shurikens, in general, that way Zane, he could have something in both hands and like have more to throw or whatever, right? But like, also there was I did notice while watching this, there was a little bit of an error that they made
from his throne.
Right here, he doesn't have the shurikens in his hand.
The greedy Samakai seized all 4 weapons,
and then immediately in the next scene, he has one in his hand. That's just a little error. But
threatening to take back the...
Like, what happens to the other one? I'm guessing they just like put it in their back pocket or something, right? But let's just say that's the case. All right, next. How is he able to pick up all 4? Because when I'm guessing the whole idea of like no one can possess the 4 golden weapons, it's supposed to be the same premise as the golden meteor that was on the comet that the Overlord got, where like that one Ninjago tried to touch it and he literally evaporated. Why doesn't he evaporate until he like turns on him? I know it's for story points, but like he should have evaporated like the second he picked up the fourth one, right? Also, does that mean that anyone can use 3 weapons, just not 4? Because you think like anyone can use 1. It takes like a very, very strong-willed and tough person to use 2. But 3 should be like, no one should fucking do that. Especially if you have 4, you fucking just poof into nothing.
The underworld throne. But to the warlord's dismay, the weapons began to glow. Explaining that no mortal being can hold all 4 weapons at once, Garmadon only laughed as Samakai began to hover midair, consumed by the energies of the golden weapons. Bones rattling against muscle, and lightning spewing from every direction, Samakai was disoriented, afraid, and begging for mercy. Just as the weapons shone a brilliant white, and the former Skalkin leader was disintegrated on the spot, his soul sent to the departed realm for good. And in his place was a dark and twisted realm portal, an after effect of the combined energies of the golden weapons leading directly to the realm of madness, the world of darkness where evil thrived in imbalance. Overjoyed at his triumph, Garmadon stopped only to promise Wu and the ninja he would return, then threw himself into the portal, leaving the golden weapons but finally managing to escape his cursed life in the underworld after so many long years. And so, with the battle won and Garmadon still at large, the ninja rushed to comfort Wu, who was still reeling from his injuries in the battle against Samakai. Rushing back up to the realm of Ninjago on their dragons, Kai, Jay, Zane, Cole, and Wu made landfall in Ignatia village, where they were greeted by Nia, who had been awaiting their return.
You'd think Garmadon would have grabbed a weapon or 2, wouldn't you? I know if I were him, I would have grabbed whatever one I could grab. I guess I'd go for the Sword of Fire, but that's me. But, you know, like, why didn't he grab one before going through the portal, you know?
And as villagers and civilians cheered and celebrated the ninja, Kai remained solemn, for he knew that Garmadon had not been defeated, and their most dangerous battle was yet to come. But soon, as the rush of the cheering crowd overwhelmed the ninja, the 4 pupils and their master found themselves at peace, for they had averted the current crisis and scattered the Skalkin threat for good. And when Lord Garmadon returned, they promised to be ready. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, they were ready.
Thus ends Chapter 1, The Golden Weapons.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Chapter 2,
my
Rise of the Serpentine, coming very soon. Alright, and with that, we have summed up episode
why is it in the
1
left
of
ear?
Ninjago Retold, The Golden Weapons. Stay tuned for next time because, again, we will be publishing future episodes based on each subsequent season, special, and even comic trilogy of the show itself. And do let me know down in the comments below, did you like this, did you dislike it, and do you have any recommendations for future Ninjago videos?
Same thing here. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you have any recommendations for future videos in general? Because I'm not limited to Ninjago and Lego. Like, Lego is a lot more wide than Ninjago is. But anyways, yeah, that was episode 1, but also 2 at the same time. My bed is still made, so you know, claps for that. Yeah. If you're not one of these people in my chat, then what the fuck are you doing? Get in my chat, sub, like, subscribe again. Subscribe, then unsubscribe, then resubscribe, and then hit that bell notification, then unsubscribe, then resubscribe, then hit that bell notification and like every single one of my videos. And then unsubscribe, dislike all my videos, and then resubscribe again. Or you can just subscribe and make it a whole lot less of a complex equation. Anyways, I'm gonna get some food, I guess, because I'm a little hungry.